Paul Duffield. What was your take on that?
Thought you smashed it again, mate. Callan Ward, he's got a bit of a reputation, being one of the GWS defects, but I think there'll be a lot of attention on the midfielders for GWS next year. Not sure if he'll ever become a bigger scorer as what Rockcliffe was this year, but if he does get up to that sort of level, then Gavin's pretty happy with himself. Paul Duffield averaged fucking 75, 76 next year. This year, I mean. Not too sure if Ross Lyon would be too keen on Duffield, if that would be Ross's favourite kind of player. But if he does, a couple of years ago he was averaging 95 odd as one of the premier small backs in the comp. So if he gets back up to that sort of form, then it's a clear win to Gav, but I think he's taking a lot more risk than you are in this one.
Yeah, exactly. I was a bit surprised how much flack Gav copped for it, to be honest. I reckon Callan Ward will be a 100-plus player in the next couple of years, and Paul Duffield, as he showed in 09 and 10, he can average in the 90s, so it was an off year for him in 2011, but I got no doubt he'll be mid-80s. The trade for me, it was basically just getting another elite young gun to my side. He can go in with Selwood, Martin and Heppel now, so I'm very happy with the trade, to be honest.
Yeah, well, you also think that Ryan Gamble is a fucking superstar, so...
Don't worry about Gamble, mate. Don't worry about him.
You pretty much tried to ship him off in every second deal that you've offered this year.
Well, he's available for a first rounder.
Alright, we'll move on, I reckon.
We're talking about the teams again this week. We are up to Fremantle, which has the famous Lummis and Biggers as the assistant coach. What do you think of Lummis's list at the moment and about his limited activity and he's basically just making it hard to reply to trades?
Yeah, look, I left Fremantle in a pretty good position, I thought. There was a couple of genuine guns, and last year he pretty much traded them all out for draft picks and a couple of other young guns. But this year, I think he's fallen off a little. He's just ridiculously hard to trade with. You just can't get a deal done with him unless you're Stoney and if the mates rates and all that. But he's got some good players. He's got a couple of very good players. He's got Sam Day, Liberatore, Zach Smith, Murphy. Josh Tweed probably had an off year, but anybody who watched the draft last year would know that he's a genuine gun. I think the biggest problem for Lum is just his trade talks. If he became more active and got more deals done and was a little easier to trade with, then he'd be a very good pickup for the site. Yeah,
I agree with that. As I say, he's got some really good guns in there, and I think he's looking to trade on Mark Murphy. But I don't really understand why. It's like he just wants draft picks over and over again. If he keeps that going, his list is just going to stay in the same state. And each year he's going to get the best young kids, but then he's going to on-sell them for the draft picks again. So that's very confusing for me. Also, for people that don't know, dealing with Lummis, have a chat to him on MSN or on Affl, and you're just talking about general chit-chat about his work and such like that, talking about uni. And then, a bit of trade talk comes into it, and then as soon as you offer something good to him, that's it. He's gone for about a week.
Yeah, it's a bit of a challenge, but I'm not too sure why he's like that. Apparently, in real life, he's a bit of a champion, according to Stoney. But on MSN, he is very hard to deal with, and Biggie is just never around. Doesn't really do much.
Do you reckon Biggers is just Lummis as well?
So that's not really an option. But if as I said, if he does, I could actually see Lummis making a fake account and then just talking to himself about trades for weeks on end. So as I was saying though, he does have a good list. He said that he's going to trade out Murphy. Nothing's really happened on that front. Not too sure if he's still going to go ahead and do that. Not sure why you do that, to be honest. I think if you do have a lot of these young players that aren't really getting games, then you do need a couple of young but still elite scoring players. So Murphy's, he's one of the premier players in the competition. Unless unless he's getting a rip of a deal for him, then if I was him, I'd be tied on him.
Yeah. All right, we'll move along to Stoney at Geelong. You have a look at his list. It's just basically jam-packed, full of superstars. But his problem's going to be his depth at the moment. He really has no one outside the 22. I think he only has 3 players outside the 22.
Yeah, it was the best 21 for a while as well, and he's got 4 emergencies, just looking at his best 22. And even then, it's fucking Adam Selwood, Nick Maxwell, Stephen Clifton, and Amon Buchanan. So depth, you said it on the podcast last week that this year will be next year will be the year of the depth, and if that's true, then Stoney will be struggling, I think.
Yeah, especially if there's big injuries. He's not going to get the value back for those gun players, and he might. He's obviously going to pick a lot of people up in the uncontracted draft, but he hasn't got that many draft picks, so I'm just not sure what his depth will be like. And I reckon come finals time, it could play a huge factor for him.
I think his plan would be. It's always easy to trade for depth when you have elite players like he does. I mean, you could trade out Heath Shaw for a good small back and then another midfielder or whatever. It's always easier to trade out your guns and then get 2 or 3 great players. So I don't think, if he realises that he does have an issue there, then he'll set that straight when the season comes around, and he'll realise, what he has to do to get his depth in. But if he just sort of has the mindset that he can make it through with best 22 that he has and not get an injury or not get any omissions, whatever like that, then he'll just coast through. But if that's the way he thinks, that I think he'll really struggle, because you know how Stoney is. He's very stubborn. He will just say fuck everyone, not make a trade, and try and make it through.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, so it's basically in Stoney's court. He's a very good trader when he wants to be. He gets those massive deals done. So if he wants the depth, then that option is there for him.
Yeah. All right, we'll move along to your side. I'll talk about it for a bit, and then you give
The
me...
mighty Gold Coast Suns.
Looking at your side, obviously you're pretty new to the competition, so you're not expected to go too well in your first year. You got some really good youngsters. You got little Bundy Christensen, Jack Redden. I reckon Ben Howlett's a bit of a goer. Robbie Gray in your forward line, and young Jed Lamb, who I think could be a very good prospect for 2012 for everyone out there.
Yep, I'm pretty happy with how the team turned out. I probably could pay a little bit more attention to the back line. Just sort of at the start wanted to focus on the midfield and the forward line, and sort of neglected that a little bit. I mean, Jason Graham, Matty Scarlett, Guerrero, all older blokes, but they still score okay. Hanley and Jamison, actually, I've got massive hopes for Jamison. Until he started getting injured this year, he was really smashing some high scores. So if he gets up to that sort of form and gets some consistency in his game again, then he could be a very solid pickup for me. And I'm pretty happy with how the team turned out, really. I mean, I'm not going to harp on about how good I am, like I normally do. But I think I've done okay. We'll see how we go in 20.
Yeah, question I've got for you, TVMB, is are you going to start trading for points just so you can beat Gav in the bet?
Fuck Gav, I don't give a fuck. I said at the start of the bet that I'm just going to do, what I'm going to do throughout the year. The bet's not going to come into my thinking, really. I mean, if I win, then awesome, pick up another player. If I lose, then it doesn't bother me, really. You can pick whoever he wants. Just a bit of fun. I think he's the one taking it a bit more seriously than I am at this point. But I'm happy with how the team looks for 2012. I'm not going to go compromise, my team in 2 or 3 years just so, I can win a bet with Gav. No issues there.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, we'll talk about the last club of today, and then we'll get on to the Stife interview. Talk about your sort of rivals, because you're coming at the comp at the same time. Shabby at Greater Western Sydney. Basically 2 months ago, everyone's giving you shit about how further ahead Shabby is than you, and I believe over the last 2 months you've actually turned that around, and I'd say that you're probably ahead. He has got better draft picks than you, but yeah, his trading's basically dried up.